Pepsi has just acquired Siete Foods for $1.2 billion, and you are probably not happy about it. And now Pepsi can increase its presence in the health-conscious allergen food market, and they say they plan to maintain the authenticity of Siete's offerings, but how can we be so sure? So on this episode of Heal Thyself, I'll tell you about some of the health food companies that have been acquired, which you may not have any idea about, and I'm going to teach you how to ensure that you're still getting a quality product on this episode of Heal Thyself. Siete chips, Siete Mexican cookies. Man, I know most of you have tried these out over the years. They were founded in 2014 by the Garza family, and it's known for its allergen-free, quality, tasty foods. It's gluten-free, it's dairy-free, and it's grain-free. And it really blew up with the paleo movement because when you're moving into that, you're sort of giving up and sacrificing at that time a lot of those snacks that were really, guilty pleasures. But when Siete came out with their touchstone product, the line of chips, they really, really played to us because, again, it was allergen free. And a lot of us were looking for something that was light, not heavy, not going to affect us, not full of corn, because a lot of people are reacting to corn from the tortillas. And they just came out with these chips that were fantastic. And on a lot of you, I know, at least for me, it's like they feel so light so you can eat a whole bag. And I've been guilty of eating a whole bag many times. So Siete Chips has now been acquired by Pepsi. So what does this mean? Well, it means they got paid. And congratulations to the family. It also means it's a phenomenon that has been going on for a while to many companies, of which you may have been aware of or not aware of. And really, some of us may still be consuming some products without ever knowing that they've been bought out and without really ever knowing that the formula has changed. And sometimes you don't really taste it, or sometimes you don't really feel it. But some products do change. And I'm going to go over some of the companies that have changed their products over time without you even knowing, right under our noses. And is this going to happen to Siete? And if it does, I'm going to teach you what to look for. I'm going to teach you how to keep a pulse on that company and keep a pulse on your favorite products to make sure that you're protecting yourself and your family, which is always the major thing in this show. So after we go over what companies have been acquired that you may not have been aware of, I'm going to talk about some of the concerns, why companies get acquired. A lot of you may ask, why did they sell out? And how you can stay ahead of it. I'm going to actually teach you how to read a certificate of analysis. I know I talk a lot about these on the show, and a lot of people ask for certificates of analysis, and then they'll send me on a DM, how do I read this? So I'm going to teach you how to read it so you can do it for yourself and really have a better understanding. And it's not only this, you can ask any company. It doesn't even have to be companies that have been bought out. Any company that you really are consuming every single day. That's definitely ones that you want to make sure that you're reading these third-party testings. So in the context of small, grassroots, mom and pop, health and wellness, food and supplement companies that have built a brand awareness, and that were acquired, I want to go over a list of them. Now, some of you may know Annie's. They're still out there. And you go to any supermarket, you're going to see Annie's homegrown. And that was acquired by General Mills. I remember this one in 2014 for $820 million. They got paid out too, right? Kashi, arguably not really a health food, but marketed as a super healthy cereal. Back in 2000s was acquired by Kellogg's. Applegate Farms was a big one that a lot of people were really unhappy about. I remember in 2015, I was still in school or in my residency when this happened, and it was really something. But people were loving Applegate Farms and their cuts, and they were wrapping them up in sandwiches and wrapping them up in different foods and giving it to their children for their lunches. They got bought out by Hormel in 2015 for $750 million. One big one, I remember this one clearly, was Burt's Bees. I bet you a lot of you don't even know Burt's Bees was actually bought out in 2007 for $925 million by Clorox. And I remember that it was just such an uproar because Burt's Bees was really, really something that was integrity, small, mom and pop built, close to nature, and just gets bought out by this company that is producing these chemically laden, environmentally damaging products, right? Like bleach and things like that are coming into our home and affecting our health and the health of the environment. And it was just such a contrast. But for me, that was a sellout. That was a true sellout. It's Burt's all right, we care about the environment, but we just got paid, so we don't really care that much. Honest Company, I bet you might not know this one. Unilever in 2017, Honest Company has tons of things from shampoos to lotions to diapers. So yeah, big one. One of the biggest ones, and I'm going to go more into supplements, but one of the biggest ones that I remember, especially because it hit hard on the health and wellness supplement field, was a Garden of Life. How many of you out there know that Garden of Life was acquired by Nestlé in 2017? And actually, this is one that I'm going to talk about. Their formulas changed up a little bit. They are not the same that they were when Garden of Life was Garden of Life. Now, I want to tell you about Bon Charge. This is a holistic wellness brand that has been a game changer for me lately. They got an incredible range of products designed to optimize every aspect of your life. One of my favorite products by Bon Charge is their red light face mask. It is my little beauty secret, for real. I have the face mask downstairs, it's on my table, and I use it every single morning. When I'm meditating, I put on my red light mask, and I know I'm getting the exact frequency to help build collagen on my face. Red light has been shown in double-blind placebo-controlled trials to help boost collagen and elastin production. That means your skin is getting tighter, it is getting clearer, it's getting cleaner, it's getting youthful, it's getting plump. Wrinkles are reducing. I'm not joking about this. You can see it in the studies pre and post. And what I love about it is how easy it is to use. You put it on for 15, 20 minutes. It's super lightweight. It does not get hot. It's clean. It's made of silicone. It's not going to affect you. No plastics. You are good to go. And they removed all the circadian disrupting blue and green light that other brands have in there. It's zero EMF, no flicker, and you get a 1-year warranty. It is a beauty secret that none of y'all are talking about. Since I started using the red light face mask, my skin is always popping, but man, it is next level. Thank you so much to Bon Charge for this awesome red light. If you have any issues with the skin, red light will be fantastic. They also have blue light glasses, EMF protection gear, infrared sauna blankets. If you want to check out Bon Charge for yourself, head to the link in the show notes and use the code DRG to save 15% off of your order. That is DRG for 15% off. I want to talk to you about something that is probably on a lot of your minds as we transition out of the summer, getting back on track with our health and fitness goals. Before you jump into that new diet or exercise plan, there's something really important we need to discuss, that is magnesium. You might be surprised to hear, but over 75% of Americans are actually deficient in magnesium. And that's a big deal because the mineral is involved in more than 600 biological interactions in our bodies. It is crucial for sleep, stress management, and even maintaining healthy weight. Now, if you're trying to lose weight, whether you're using medications or not, or even dealing with some not so fun side effects like trouble sleeping or digestive issues or feeling irritable, that's why I want to tell you about Magnesium Breakthrough by BiOptimizers. What sets the supplement apart is that it contains all 7 forms of magnesium that your body actually can use. This means you're getting the full spectrum of benefits, which can really support your weight loss journey in a healthy, sustainable way. Magnesium Breakthrough can help optimize your sleep and how you handle stress, support healthy blood sugar control, and even boost your metabolism. All of these factors play a huge role in maintaining a healthy weight over time. If you want to give Magnesium Breakthrough a try, I got a special offer for you. Head over to bioptimizers.com/DRG and use the code DRG10, that is DRG10, and get 10% off of any order. You know, the soy milks, Horizon Organic, and Earthbound Farms, they were all under the umbrella of White Wave Foods. They got bought out by Dannon in 2017 for $12.5 billion. RXBAR 2017 for $600 million. Justin's Nut Butter, some of you are still eating that one out there. That's by Hormel for $286 million. Hormel, you know, they produce a lot of foods out there, or oversee a lot of these food companies that are just not really that good. Bolthouse Farms by Campbell, 2012, Odwalla by Coca-Cola, Vega, the plant-based protein, you can get it at Whole Foods. That was bought by White Wave Foods, now part of Dannon in 2015 for $550 million. Suja Juice, some of you still are getting that one. I think they have it at Whole Foods by Coca-Cola 2015 for $300 million. Bear Snacks was bought out by Pepsi in 2018. You remember when Whole Foods was bought out by Amazon? I mean, this was very egregious to me. It's like Whole Foods was bought out by Amazon in 2017. And I just remember over time, you know, over the years since 2017, seeing these products that I'm like, why is this at Whole Foods? And then another week I'll see another product. And a month later I'll see another product. And I'm like, why are they starting to sell? It's like they had a really tight, intentional perspective on what they're bringing in. And it just got looser. So you may know, I mean, like Whole Foods, it still has much better quality than most supermarkets out there. But with that said, some supermarkets are kind of matching it, like a Sprouts. But at this point, it's because they just totally started loosening what they're bringing in. I think Whole Foods has gone down since Amazon bought it out in 2017. I only buy a few things from there. I kind of don't even get produce from there anymore. It's not that good for me, at least. So there's just so many. Chameleon Cold Brew by Nestle. Remember Primal Kitchen? They got bought out by Kraft Heinz in 2018 for $200 million. I mean, like, things happen. And a lot of these companies, and shout out to you for paying attention, because you may have just found out a company that you've been buying and supporting. And it brings a lot of ethical questions up, because it's like, okay, I love the way, let's say, for example, Primal Kitchen tastes. And they may have not changed their formula much, if anything. And they got bought out by Heinz. So Heinz doesn't make necessarily the best conscious food out there. Do you want to support it? Okay, that's one thing. Maybe Heinz is not as bad as Pepsi, and they just bought out Siete. So now the question is an ethical one. Even if the product doesn't change, do you still want to support a company that doesn't really have our interest at mind? That's not the energy of the company. It's profits, right? Even worse is Nestle, right? One of the most egregious companies out there for human health, human rights. It's if there was a company ever run by a Lucifer caricature, it would be by the CEO of Nestle. It's just the worst company. And a lot of these companies that don't have our best interests or ethics at mind have bought out companies that were for the people. So it's an ethical question that you can start asking yourself. Do I want to support any of these companies that Dr. G just mentioned on the show that have been bought out by bigger corporations? So I want to go over the concerns that have been found, right? There's actually a lot of these companies that have been bought out and their formulas have actually changed. One of which being Kashi. Remember, I said Kashi is not necessarily a health food, a healthy cereal out there, but some of your mom buys it all the time, right? And they were bought out by Kellogg's in 2000. And after the acquisition, there was a lot of consumer complaints that they started using genetically modified organisms. And they were adding in non-organic ingredients that were being introduced. And that was pretty fast after the acquisition. And there was a backlash because Kashi probably had a loyal consumer base, and they just changed the product completely. And they had a really shitty product that was coming out. And now Kashi tried to reformulate, rebuild, adding quality, GMO-free, organic, but it's hurt the brand's reputation, right? And we don't forget that stuff. Odwalla, which are the drinks that were acquired by Coca-Cola in 2001. And Coca-Cola's acquisition immediately created criticism for Odwalla in increasing their usage of preservatives. They reduced the amount of raw, fresh, clean ingredients. Although the juices were high in sugar anyway, they were not adding in fresh ingredients anymore. They were no longer preserved as fresh. They were losing their health-conscious appeal. And guess what? By 2020, Odwalla disappeared. But I remember it, and it's because it's like you have, and I hope they don't do this with Siete, you have this product that like people believe in and it tastes good. And then over time, it just starts changing. And we lose our trust, we lose our loyalty, and we just move away. And that's how companies go under, like Odwalla. And he's homegrown. Same thing. Like, I know that, like, look, it's not necessarily the healthiest thing either. They have it at Whole Foods. And General Mills took over, and they maintained the use of organic ingredients in Annie's products. But there was some concerns about the changes. It had a really subtle change in flavor. It had a subtle change in the flavor and the texture. And people were talking about actually the quality being a concern. And some of the people who were consuming post-acquisitions Annie's were talking about that the macaroni and cheese no longer tasted the same. And it just changed the flavor profile. And it's likely because they were adding in different preservatives and they were just changing the formula to something cheaper that was a higher profit, and the product suffered. Same with Applegate Farms. This was the one I talked about. Moms were giving this to their kids, and they maintained, when they got bought out, they maintained by Hormel in 2015, they maintained that commitment to antibiotic-free organic meats. But there was actually concerns, again, about Hormel's reputation. This is what happens. They get bought out, and this company that buys and acquires this other smaller company, they have a reputation. And Hormel introduced And then Hormel started to introduce new products under the Applegate brand, which were out of the integrity and ethics of what Applegate means. And it started leading to many worries about this ingredient quality. And although there was no drastic changes to the formula, it became problematic. Same with Bolthouse Farms. They changed the quality of the smoothies and juices, the texture change, the taste change. There was increases in sweeteners and preservatives. People just had a changed view on what this company was. Same with Garden of Life. I remember Garden of Life was like the go-to supplement brand for people who were plant-based, the go-to supplement brand for people that wanted like organic, straight from nature, clean products. This was a company that was really centered in its ability to provide close to nature quality supplements. But after they were acquired by Nestlé in 2017, they made minor changes to the supplements, but consumers started to see that it was affecting the efficacy of how this product was working in their body and the purity of the products. They were concerned that basically they were no longer adhering really strict to that whole food philosophy, right? Getting their supplements being a product of whole foods. And they started straying away from that. And that was Garden of Life's philosophy. And they still said, no, we're organic, we're non-GMO, we're in that whole food philosophy, but it just wasn't the same product. And that's what happened. The same with Honest Tea. Honest Tea, people used to love. They loved it. And when it was acquired by Coca-Cola in 2011, I remember I used to drink Honest Tea when I was in school. And they reduced pretty fast. They reduced the amount of organic ingredients in Honest Tea. They increased the sweetness, right? So to appeal for a wider audience, they increased the sugar, and they moved away from just the total low sugar ethos. And that was one of my favorite iced teas because it was low sugar. And all of a sudden, I know they got bought out, and I go to see the product and they have more sugar in it. I was like, whoa, they actually spiked this with sugar to make this more of like that sugary teas that people love drinking. But that's not the ethos of the company. So we're hoping again, I'm speaking for like Siete and Pepsi, but like when we see this track record, this happens, and it happens pretty regularly. And because of that, Honest Tea was discontinued in 2022. Coca-Cola lost it. So when you think about these food brands, I just mentioned Garden of Life, but mostly food brands, I just want you to be aware when it comes to supplement companies, there's other ones out there, not only Garden of Life, but Nature's Bounty was bought out. Pure Encapsulations, I remember that one. It was the same year as Garden of Life by Nestlé. Pure Encapsulation was bought out by Nestlé, and I was like, I am not supporting Pure Encapsulations ever again because I think Nestlé is the worst company. And I actually stopped. Yeah. No one knew that. Did we know that? Vital Proteins was acquired by Nestlé. I won't touch Vital Proteins. I never recommend Vital Proteins just because that's an ethical piece for me. It's ethics. Maybe the supplement hasn't changed at all. Maybe not one ingredient, not even 1 milligram has changed, but it's an ethics thing for me, right? You want to know who's your money going to, right? Your hard-earned money is paying out someone. Do you want to pay out someone who is a shitty person, right? And who has really poor integrity and hurts people? Or would you want to buy the same bag of oranges from someone who has an open heart and really wants to help humanity? It's an obvious answer, but we don't think about it when it comes to just consumerism, but we have to think about it. Ollie Nutrition was bought out by Unilever. New Chapter, I remember this one, by Procter & Gamble. This was an interesting one. A pharmaceutical company went and bought an organic whole foods-based supplement company, right? But they're smart, right? They're smart. They saw the growing of natural supplements in food markets, and the pharmaceutical company went and bought out New Chapter. So just things to think about, right? Zarbee's was bought out by Johnson & Johnson, another pharmaceutical company. So it's just BiOptimizers. I was thinking about that. That one just came up. BiOptimizers was bought out. But when we think about these things, you go, okay, well, why are companies selling out? Well, access to capital. Small companies are getting money. They're getting paid, right? They're expanding their operations, distribution. They're selling to these larger companies. They're having financial backing. They have better marketing and R&D, bigger marketing budgets. They're expanding to wider distribution channels. Right now it can become, this is what Siete said, they want to move into the international market, and sure, makes sense. They want to move their product, but again, at what expense? They want to have larger retail space, more eyes on it, better operational supply chain optimization. This is why they're getting bought out, right? These companies that are buying these smaller companies are seeing in their portfolio, we really want to get into health food. All right, what niche? Well, health food, but we want to get into paleo, or we want to get into allergen-free in the example of Siete. We want to get into vegan. We want to get into carnivore. Like, these companies have a pulse on everything, and they have a portfolio, and they're just watching these companies for 2, 3, 4 years and having an eye on them. And once they hit a certain profit and loss margin, they're going, okay, well, we want to buy this company out. And I'm sure that, Pepsi had Siete on their eyes for 2, 3 years already. And they just saw the growth, and it's everywhere. Siete was everywhere, right? I remember when they first came out, and then they were everywhere. And they gained so much popularity, and they got bought out, right? So when these companies are bought out, I want you to think about a few things. How do we empower ourselves, right? So am I going to still eat Siete, right? Like, well, here's what I'm going to do. And here's what I suggest you do if you love Siete so much, right? And any of the products that I just mentioned. But just know, it's like, if you love Siete and you really love the integrity of a product and you get behind their story, then, sometimes you want to root and cheer for people. And you know what? They work hard. They should get paid out for sure. The question is make it first an ethical question. Do I want to give my hard-earned money to a company like this? Okay. Because it's a spectrum, right? Like, I think Nestlé is a terrible company and I would never give my money to them. Unilever, they make products that are not necessarily good for the environment. What do I value? I value environmental health. I value home health. If a company or organization, a corporation is making products that are destroying the environment, destroying your home health, not even egregiously putting out products that don't even care about what you're breathing in and making you sick, I don't want to support that company. So you really want to look at, like, Pepsi bought out Siete. What does Pepsi have? What does Pepsi do? Are they putting out products that are making people sick? I don't think you know the answer to that one. So do you want to support that? Okay. Now, what that means is there's no right or wrong answer. You can go, I don't care. I love Siete. I don't care who my money goes to. I'm not mad at you. Do what you want. The other thing is, you can go, okay, well, I care. I still love Siete, but I care. So you're just reducing it. You buy it every now and then. Or you can go, no way. I'm not supporting a company that, puts out these drinks, doesn't care about microplastics, doesn't care about sugar in children, obesity, weight gain, diabetes, doesn't care about that. So then don't buy it, right? And start making your at-home cassava chips, almond flour chips, corn chips, whatever you want. I don't know of any other cassava-based, allergen-free, grain-free chips. I do know the banana one with the monkey on the front. I think it's called Banana. They have cassava chips, now that it comes to mind. But and I know there's the masa chips that have been out, and those are really I don't eat them because they have beef tallow, but they're ones that are clean. Might be just a matter of time before they get bought out too. But let's just think about it. Ethically, where do we stand with an acquisition? Where do we want to put our money? Right? This is a really important question for you to understand. Where do you want to put your money? Okay. After that, if you decide I still want to consume it, look at the ingredients. Take a picture on your phone, write it down somewhere, and keep an eye on it. So I know Siete has cassava. I don't remember what it has, but I say it has cassava, say it has almond flour, and say it has some salt and pepper and avocado oil. That might be the formula. I don't know. But let's say it has those 4 or 5 things. Take a picture, memorize it, or write it down somewhere and keep an eye. So next time you buy it, see if they add something. See if all of a sudden you see sunflower oil in there. Or see if all of a sudden you see cornmeal powder in there. See if one day you see some sort of gum in there, or preservative. Interesting, because that wouldn't be uncommon. The next thing is, if you don't see a change in the ingredients or the food list in the back, see if it tastes different. Right? That's another thing. Trust your body. Does it taste different? Oh, these Siete chips, they taste different. Their texture is different. The taste is different. Well, I used to be able to eat like 10 and no stomach ache. Now I eat 5 and I get a stomach ache. Pay attention to that, because they got bought out. there is a high chance that their sourcing is going to change. They don't necessarily have to use Siete source for cassava and all their ingredients. They might use a cheaper source that they can get their hands on and turn a higher profit. You might be affected by that. So just because the ingredients are the same, the source might not be the same. But ultimately, the most quantifiable thing that we can see is the certificate of analysis. Okay. The certificate analysis is something that is really important, not only in companies getting acquired and just checking on if their quality product is still out there or not, but it's for you. It's for you to understand, hey, listen, even if it's a cacao that hasn't been acquired, or a maca, or a matcha, or a collagen protein, you want to make sure the heavy metals are not going to be affecting you for the long term. If you have coffee and you haven't got a COA from the company, or no one's gave you a COA from the company, or no one's talked about it, it's important that you do that. Matcha, anything that you're drinking every single day, you need that certificate of analysis, especially if you're eating it, drinking it, or you're giving it to your family, okay? Certificate of analysis for heavy metals is really important because it's going to provide information for the presence of heavy metals like lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, and it's going to be in all types of products, supplements, foods, cosmetics. But how do you interpret these? Well, one, you want to ask the company. You're most likely not going to get it because companies are so non-transparent. You know, I've done so many shows, they hold back their COA because they know it's not a good one. And you will find when you reach out, they're going to give you this. They're going to give you this rundown. Thank you for reaching out. We are so excited to share with you new information on X brand. We're doing our best to keep the highest, cleanest products out there. We follow FDA guidelines on this and EPA guidelines on that. And we try to be organic, but when it comes to heavy metals, they're natural, they're found on Earth, and there are always going to be some heavy metals in it, but rest assured they're under European Union or FDA, but they're the same shit. You're always going to get that. That's the most likely watch. And if you get that, send me a screenshot. You can push back if you want, if it really matters to you, or you might get a company that says, hey, thanks for reaching out. We are proud. What are you looking for? And we'll be happy to provide it. Ooh, that's a company that you give a thumbs up already just for being transparent. And when they send you that certificate analysis, it's going to be a PDF and you're going to open it and it's going to show heavy metals. And it might have 4 lines: lead, cadmium, arsenic, mercury. And you're going to look at it and it's going to say it in each line. And when you look at these heavy metals, it's going to show the range. Sometimes it shows the range. And then you'll have the actual number in that batch that's tested. And the results will show the concentration of each metal in that product and in whatever amount that they measured it by. Like, let's say 2 grams will have X amount of lead, cadmium, arsenic, or mercury. It's usually reported in milligrams per kilogram or parts per million. And 1 part per million is the same thing as 1 milligram per kilogram. So you can convert those easily. So when it comes to Proposition 65, which is really, really the strictest standardization for heavy metals that are out there, for cadmium, it's going to be 4.1 parts per million. Arsenic is going to be 0.1 parts per million. Mercury, 0.3 parts per million. Lead, 0.5 parts per million. Okay. So I want you to see, what are they reporting it by, right? It might say on the COA, we have, or 0.05 milligrams per kilogram of lead per serving. So on the COA, it will tell you how much contains how much of a heavy metal. If it's not in the serving size, most time it's going to be reported in the serving size, then you have to measure that serving size. So let's say they say for every 5 grams, it has 0.05 parts per million of lead. And then you see the serving size is 10 grams, you just multiply it by 2. But if you want to make it easier on yourself, you just ask a company, are you under Proposition 65 for heavy metals? If the answer is yes, you can already assume that they have low heavy metals. If the answer is no, but they say, but our lead sometimes a little higher, but then it's probably okay. If they don't answer you, it's probably problematic. If they give you FDA's numbers, the FDA's standardization is a lot less strict than Proposition 65. So somewhere in the middle of them is the green zone for me. anything that goes higher than FDA limits on heavy metals is something that I'm not down with. But to make it easy on you, I just want you to ask that company about Proposition 65. And what I will do is put together a nice ebook on this to make it really easy for people to know how to read certificates of analysis, because it's a really important skill that we can have as consumers to making sure that we have safe products out there. So I really, really want to thank you for listening to the show. I want to thank you for sharing this love, and I want to thank you for sharing this with others. Thank you so much for joining Heal Thyself, and I really hope this show helped. Thank you.